You've been doing the research, and at some point you found two videos back to back that told you two completely different things. One guy, he's living on $600 a month. He's eating good. He's got a clean place. He looks relaxed. He's telling you it works, and he means it. And then the next video, different guy. He's telling you $1,600 is the floor, and anything less than that, you're setting yourself up to fail. And he means it too. And you're sitting there thinking, well, which one is it? Here's what nobody in that conversation will tell you. They're both right. The guy on $600 a month is telling the truth. The guy that's saying $1,600 is the floor, well, he's telling the truth too. They're just answering four completely different questions without knowing it. By the end of this video, I'm going to give you those four questions. You answer them honestly, not the way you want to, honestly, and they will tell you exactly which budget is yours. Not mine, not some guy in the comments, yours. We're walking through three numbers today: 500, 873, and 1,500. What each one actually buys you, what it costs you, and who it works for. We're going to start with the floor. $500 a month. That number gets passed around this space more than any other number. And I'm not going to tell you it's impossible. It's not. But I am going to tell you what you're actually buying line by line. Rent. Province only. And I mean province, not Cebu, not Manila, not Dumaguete. I'm talking province. A basic one-bedroom clean fan, not aircon. You're looking at about $100 to $130 a month. You're living like the neighbors live. That's not bad. That's just real. Food, local market, rice, vegetables, carinderia lunches, $150 to $180 a month. You won't be hungry. Now, utilities, no aircon keeps this manageable. Electric, water, around $20 a month, maybe a little more in the summer. Transportation, you're talking tricycles and jeepneys, $5 to $10 round trip on most local routes. Budget, about $80, $90 a month so you can move around. I know locally here, it's about 20 pesos for me to get from the waiting shed into town. SIM and data, about $40 to $55 a month. You're connected. And then you got your miscellaneous, haircut, toiletries, a beer on Friday, the random $30 to $40 you didn't plan for. Budget $15 to $25 a month if you're disciplined. Streaming, and a lot of you guys want this, $13 to $15 a month. That's on whether you cut it or keep it. Add the core items, you're at $435 to $490. On paper, $500 works. You got a thin buffer, you're not starving, you're not sleeping outside. But here is what's not in that breakdown. Healthcare. At $500 a month, you got PhilHealth if you're enrolled, depending on your situation. That's somewhere between $10 to $65 a month. PhilHealth is better than nothing, but it is not a healthcare plan for a 60-year-old foreigner with any kind of history. One hospitalization, one real emergency, and you're looking at about $1,000 to $3,000 out of pocket, maybe more. On a $500 budget, that's 2 to 6 months of your entire income gone. So if you're running a $500 a month budget, you need one thing that isn't in any of those line items: a reserve. 6 months minimum. I've said this over and over again. And make sure that it's sitting somewhere that you can get to fast. Because $500 a month isn't a safety net, it's a tightrope. And tightropes work until they don't. Now there's something else $500 doesn't buy you. Social life, integration, the feeling that you actually belong here. You know, when you're running $500 in the province, you're not going to expat dinners. You're not splitting the bill at the nicer place. You're not showing up for someone's birthday with something respectable. And look, that sounds like a small thing. it is not a small thing. Isolation is what breaks guys here. And $500 a month puts you at real risk for that. Speaking of language, in the province, you're likely in a Bisaya-speaking community, not Manila, where Tagalog gets you somewhere. The closer you get to ground level, that 500 requires, the more the language gap matters, and that gap costs you too. Just not in pesos. Now, does 500 work for some guys? Yes. And I'll tell you exactly who. It works if you have a Filipino wife with a rooted family structure and you're in or near that family. It works if your housing is effectively free or near free because of that connection. It works for you if you're genuinely healthy, no maintenance medications, nothing in your history that will make a doctor pause. And it works if you're introverted enough that a quiet, small social world doesn't feel like a sentence. That's a narrow window. Most guys watching this are not in that window, not because there's anything wrong with them, just math. 500 is the floor. It is not the foundation. $873 a month. I didn't pick that number because it's round. I picked it because it's what the data shows when you stop cutting corners and start actually living here. Let me show you where the extra money goes, because it's not going to luxury, it's going to margin. Rent. You've got real options now. Province, clean 1-bedroom, aircon, decent neighborhood, 180 to 220 bucks a month. You're comfortable. You're not counting ceiling fans. Food, you're still eating local most of the time, but twice a week you can sit down at a decent spot without doing math in your head. Budget about 200 to 220 a month, and you're eating well. Utilities, aircon changes this. Realistically, $60 to $80 a month, depending on how much you run it. Budget, $75 and you're covered. Transportation, same structure, more flexibility, $100 a month. You're not counting tricycle fares. SIM and data, $40 to $55 a month, same as before. Miscellaneous, now you have actual room here, $60 to $80 a month, a birthday gift, a decent bottle of something, Evan Williams in my case, an unexpected expense that doesn't derail your week. Let's talk healthcare. This is where 873 is fundamentally different from 500 bucks. At 873, you can carry a basic expat health policy, entry level, higher deductible, around 100 to 130 a month, depending on your age and history. It's not the platinum plan, but one hospitalization doesn't erase 6 months of your life. And this is not a small thing. That is the difference between a setback and a catastrophe. Run those numbers, you're roughly at about 830 to 880, little breathing room, not a lot, but enough. But don't think you're in the clear here, you still want an emergency fund. And this is what changes at 873 that doesn't show up in a spreadsheet. You stop making decisions out of fear. On a $500 budget, every decision has an edge to it. Can I afford this? Should I go? What if something comes up? That low level of financial anxiety, you know what I'm talking about. It doesn't feel like pressure in the moment. It just feels like how things are until you remove it and you realize how heavy it was. At 873, you can say yes to a dinner. You can fix the thing that broke without a week of dread. You can get on a bus and go somewhere without calculating whether you can afford the ticket back. The guys I've met here who are actually happy, not performing for a camera, actually happy, they almost all live somewhere around this number, give or take $50 either direction. Not because 873 is magic, because it's the number where you stop surviving and start living a little bit. It's the number where you belong here instead of just exist here. For instance, back in Minnesota or wherever you're coming from, you probably had more than this and still felt behind. Here, 873 feels like just enough. It's not a sales pitch. That's just how the math lands in the province. All right, 1,500 bucks a month. And I want to be careful here because a lot of guys come here convinced they need 1,500 when they don't. And some guys budget 500 when they actually need 1,500. Both mistakes are expensive. Here's who 1,500 is actually for. You want to live in a city. Cebu City, Dumaguete, certain parts of Davao. You want a Western standard apartment. Aircon, hot water, security, maybe a gym. You're looking at maybe 400 to 600 in rent alone. That's not outrageous for what you're getting, but it's not 130 bucks either. You want to eat what you want to eat when you want. Local food, Western food, delivery, restaurants. You're not running a food budget, you're just eating. Budget about 250 to 300 bucks a month and you won't be counting anything. Also, if your health situation requires real coverage, real maintenance, medications, special visits, history that means a basic policy with a high deductible isn't going to cut it, your healthcare line item is 200 to 300 a month and it needs to be there. You socialize at Western comfort level, expat circles, nicer restaurants, regular activities. You're not watching what other people order. You travel within the Philippines, you maintain or regularly rent a vehicle. That's a $1,500 life, and there's nothing wrong with that life. Some guys will say you're living like a pauper still. They need $4,000 to $3,000 a month. Well, that's their life. That's not your life. What makes them happy doesn't make you happy, and what makes you happy doesn't make them happy. It's also a vice versa thing. Here's what I want you to notice though. Above 1,500, the return starts to flatten. You're not dramatically improving your life at 2,000 versus 1,500 in most of the Philippines. You're buying incremental comfort. Some guys need it, most don't. The Philippines is not an expensive country. It's a country that will let you spend as much or as little as you decide to spend. The trap, though, is deciding wrong. A guy who arrives on 500 bucks when he actually needs 873 will be miserable and broke inside a year. A guy who budgets 1,500 when he can genuinely thrive on 873 isn't going broke, but he's living a Western life with a Filipino address. That's a choice. Just make it consciously. Not a bad choice, not a good choice, a conscious one. All right, you've seen all three budgets now, 500, 873, 1,500. I told you at the top I'd give you 4 questions that would tell you exactly which one is yours. Here they are. Answer them honestly, not the way you want to. Answer them honestly. Question 1. Where are you going to live? Province or city? That's the question. Not which island, not which region. Those details matter later. Right now, province or city. If your honest answer is city, Cebu, Manila, Dumaguete, Davao, you're not a $500 person. You might not even be an $873 person. Start at $1,500 and build your actual budget from there. If your honest answer is province, and I mean actually province, not the nice part of a mid-sized city, then 873 is a real and livable number for you. 500 is possible under the right conditions. Province or city? Just write it down. Question 2. Are you coming alone, or do you have a Filipino partner with rooted family structure here? Let me clarify, I'm not asking if you have a girlfriend you met online 6 months ago. I'm asking if you have a wife or a serious long-term partner whose family is here, who has roots here, who your life is already building around. If the answer is yes, and that integration is real, not hopeful, you have a structural cost advantage that solo guys just don't have. Your housing options are different, your food situation is different, your social world is already there. That alone can move your number down significantly. If the answer is no, you're coming solo or you're building a relationship from scratch, budget for that reality. The loneliness tax is real, okay? The cost of building a life from zero in a place where you don't speak Bisaya, Waray, Tagalog is real. alone or rooted? Write it down. Question 3, you got to ask yourself, what is your housing situation going to be? Full market rate rent, family compound, or owned? Housing is the single biggest variable in your budget. A guy paying $120 a month in rent and a guy paying $500 a month have fundamentally different financial lives, even if everything else is identical. And be honest about where you're starting, not where you hope to be in 3 years, where you are day one. Rent level. Write it down. And for a lot of you, most importantly, question 4, what does your health actually look like? Not what you hope it looks like, what it actually is. Your age, your history, your medications, your tolerance for a large, unexpected, out-of-pocket bill. If you're under 55, genuinely healthy, no maintenance meds, you have a solid reserve, a basic policy, plus PhilHealth, that might be enough. That's an $873 healthcare situation. But if you're over 60, you have a history, take medications daily, or the thought of a $3,000 bill keeps you up at night, you need real insurance with real coverage. That's going to move you toward the $1,500 budget, whether you want to be there or not. Healthcare is the one place in this budget where optimism is dangerous. Don't be optimistic here. Health situation. Be sure you write it down. Again, 4 questions. Where you live. Whether you have roots here or you're building from scratch. What your housing actually costs. What your health requires. Those 4 answers will tell you more about your real budget than any calculator, any comment section, any YouTube video, including this one. Your budget is not your income minus your wish list. It's the honest intersection of those 4 things. 500 is the floor. Most guys shouldn't be standing on it. 873 is where most guys in the province with a real foundation here actually live well. 1,500 is the number for the city life, the health situation, or the guy who wants the comfort and can afford it. None of these numbers are wrong. They're just answers to different questions. And now you know which questions to ask. Look, I've been living this life going on almost 4 years now. Provincial Samar. My wife, our kids, her family around us. And I'll tell you, the number that changed everything for me wasn't a big number. It was the honest number. The one that matched my actual life, not the life I was imagining from a laptop back home. Get that number right before you book the flight, because the Philippines doesn't care how good your spreadsheet looks. It just shows you who you are when the money gets real. If this has helped you get a little clearer, drop your number in the comments. One word, 500, 873, 1,500, or something else entirely. I want to know where you land. Also, in the description I put together, it's free. It's the 10 non-negotiable rules every guy should know before moving to the Philippines. It's absolutely free. Some guys have thrown in a few bucks to $20. I appreciate every one of them, but as always, it is free. And if you would like to get online or talk specifically one-on-one about your specific situation, you can find my email address in the description below as well. I'd love to talk with you. Always enjoy it. Before you bail, make sure you check out this video. It may change your perspective on life in general, and also you'll like this one as well, I believe. As always, be excellent to each other, and remember, this is not about the Philippines. It's how you show up when you get here, and we'll see you in the next video.